لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
Oh. Hey, what's up, yo? Put something in the chat real fast. Let me know if you can hear me, because I want to make sure that this microphone is hooked up. So let me know if you can hear me. Let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me real fast. And I know it's like a little delay from StreamYard to YouTube, but give me a mic check. I need to know y'all can hear me before I start running my gums. Nope, nobody hear me? Gotta put it in the chat for me. Let me know if you can hear me. Please let me know. Let me know. I need a sound check. Let me make sure ain't no delay. Let me go over here to the side. I need to figure that out. Oh man, that's a horrible delay. I mean, that's horrible. I've been stopped doing that. So do me a favor. Again, I just got to see if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. You can? Can you hear me? I don't know. Hold on. Let me check. Let me check on my side. I can go to YouTube and see. Okay. All right. All right, cool. So, man, this is a super duper just spur of the moment type of thing. I just want to jump on real fast and see, if we can validate this scripture in the Holy Quran. But first, before I get into the Quran, let me see something real fast, because it's we got to piggyback off of a previous conversation that was had, one on YouTube, that is called God is a Radio. You should check that out. It's on the channel God is a Radio. Very, very, very powerful stuff. Let me do this. I'm going to share my screen real fast to kind of go back into that particular thing, which is going to set up the premise of a later revelation dealing with the Quran. All right. Let me go here with that. Let me get rid of that for a second. And let me kind of blow this up. All right. So I think one thing that is super duper imperative is we kind of got to know what our position is in space, right? I think we should just be cognizant of it, right? Because there's certain viewpoints that we can have, like when you look outside, the earth looks flat and, you don't see nothing but like what's in the sky in a sense, right? But in totality, in a sense, like our whole solar system is like just a speck of dust inside of what is called the spurs or the arms of the Milky Way galaxy. So right where it says you are about here, like, you know, you, you can't even see our sun. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, you know what I mean? Imagine being so far back in a position where, you know, you can't even see our sun because we exist in this infinite amount of space called the universe. Okay. But within the universe, you have galaxies. Okay. Some will argue trillions and millions of galaxies. And our Milky Way galaxy is just that, it's our home. Okay. And the galactic center, which is said to be a black hole, which is said to be emitting a radio wave, which is a frequency. Okay. Um, comes from this particular source. That center that you see in the Milky Way galaxy is really, in our reality, source, without a shadow of a doubt, far as what upholds the gravitational pull and things of that nature that make us into existence in a sense. Yeah, this is source right here. Okay. I like to use quotes from both Bible and Quran. And this one here is saying God created the heavens and earth in true proportions. Verily, and that is a sign for those who believe. What do you mean it's a sign for those who believe? Okay, what's the sign? You created in true proportions. Okay, proportions mean ratios, right? Some type of size, some type of measurement. Okay. Now that becomes very interesting. So anyway, I'm not gonna get into that real fast, but um we had showed, let me keep going. We've showed again, here's one that, hey, the underline tells you that this black hole Sagittarius A is a compact radio source. We've shown this, okay? So it's a radio source that's coming. Okay. Now, on December the 18th, and it's about to get real interesting. And that's about what, almost 2 months away, you know. So it's just gonna get real fun to dial in on this. But on December the 18th, the sun appears directly in front of the radio source of the Milky Way galaxy. Okay. So show you how to measure that. So that's what that is. So on December the 18th, that's when it happens. How do we know? Is because if you look at the top at the green underline, it says that the right ascension angle is 17 hours 45 minutes. And then you see the yellow underline says Sagittarius A. Well, on December 18th, are we not in Sagittarius? Yes. And then look at the arrow pointing to 17 hours 45 minutes. So there's another verse in the Quran that says, we created the sun and the moon as calculating devices. Okay. So you can use this if you know how to look at a coordinate in space. You can now tweak the sun and moon or any body that you're looking at and tweak it because it's going in a circle. So the only thing you got to know is how to align it with it. That's it. Okay. So this happens on December the 18th. I'm going to call this the day of power because the sun is in front of this circle. In Islam is something called the night of power. Right, which obviously is about 6 months from here, but it's another conversation. This is the day of power because this is when the sun is directly in front of our source. Okay, so to give you an idea as well, because remember, this is about 26,000 light years away from source. But on December the 18th, and I have it circled, the sun is at 26 degrees Sagittarius. So when we see the sun on this day, it's like, okay, the sun is carrying a frequency of 26 degrees. So it's like, hey, just see this as code 26 or channel 26, frequency 26 on December the 18th. Okay. So again, just kind of reiterating some things, but I didn't show you, which I showed in God is a Radio, is the bottom right-hand side. It says that, hey, for a full precessional circle, it's approximately 26,000 years for each zodiac sign. Each zodiac sign rules an age for 2,160 years. Times 12 signs, okay, that completes the circle. That's 25,920 years, very close to 26,000 years. So we're 26,000 light years away from source. We're also 26,000 years in the full precessional circle. And then on December the 18th, the sun just so happens to be 26 degrees Sagittarius. Okay. And so then we introduce Mr. Yahweh, God, also known as Jehovah, because Jehovah's number, Yahweh's number is 26, as you see on the left hand side. The yod 10, the H the 5, the vowel or the W 6, and the final H 5. Added up is 26. Okay, so then the question became: is Yahweh a computation? Is it a fractal of our galactic distance, which is our energy source, right? Is it a fractal of all 12 zodiac signs, top right hand side? A perfect mirror of the sun when it aligns perfectly with the galactic center, top left, right? So those become the questions. Okay, so now it's clear. And let me stop sharing so I can see you guys real quick. So now it's clear, and let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat, because y'all probably came on a little late, but can y'all hear me? So it's clear that from the biblical standpoint, Yahweh 26 is connected to this center, right? And again, you got to go back into that particular presentation where I go further into that, because it's some verses in Exodus that points to this. Okay. All right. And so now let me introduce to you. Thank you, Cashflow. Okay. Let me introduce to you. Let me load that up real fast. Oh, before I load that up, let me load up this app to kind of show you the grand scheme of space. Can I do that? How about I do that? All right, let me share my screen first, because it don't have no minimize. So let me do that. Right. Boop, boop, boop. One of my favorite programs. This is crazy, right? So when we on Earth, right? Like our reality, yeah. Like our reality is like this, right? Like it's so just 3D in a sense, right? This is what it appears to be our reality. But I want to introduce us to this kind of reality here. And this is known as, see, the Quran actually talks about this too. So this is really the inner heavens. And then you about to go to the outer heavens. Okay. And what I want to do is eventually that Milky Way galaxy is going to pop up. Look how far we are. Now we just now getting to a place of like what we call fixed stars. Yeah, Procyon, Sirius, right? Arcturus, right? This is distance and space, man. And then hold on, guess what? Here is your Milky Way galaxy, or where you're at. So you exist. And look, we're still far. And I like this view because I call this is God's view looking at creation, looking at the universe, or within the universe, looking again, in particularly, this looking at our galaxy. There's millions of galaxies. Okay. So we exist right up in here, right? And this is not the center, because remember, we're 26,000 light years to the precise center, right? So we got a lot of traveling to do within space. Then we come into our local solar system. Yes. And then once we pass Jupiter and we pass the asteroid belt, now we in the inner realms. Okay. But this is how vast creation is. And let me get out of this. I just want to show y'all that. I am telling you firsthand, and I'll show you a little bit today, that there's certain holy texts in reference to what I'm talking about today is going to be the Quran, has a knowledge of the distance of this location, i.e. the galactic center. All right. So let's do this because I ain't bring the slides in. I'm gonna just share my screen. Boop. All right. Let me blow this up and get you out the way. All right. So there's a verse in chapter 70, verse 4. And it reads, the angels in the spirit, talking about Gabriel, will ascend to him during the day, the extent of which is 50,000 years. Okay. An extent which is 50,000 years. Okay. So then I started thinking, and don't get scared because some people see math and they're like, what the hell is this? I just started thinking, like, wait a minute. I know the earth is in the circle, going around the sun in the circle, the galactic center, that's a circle because we're going around the whole solar system is going around the galactic center, which can take over 200 million years to complete. And so you said 50,000 years is a return. But if you look at the diameter, remember, the diameter is a straight line through the circle. The Milky Way is approximately 100,000 light years in diameter. But remember, radius is half of the diameter. The diameter simply is a straight line that goes through the circle, and radius is just half of that. Okay. So if we type in the diameter 100,000 years, that's what NASA said, approximately. What's our radius? Our radius is right there, 50,000. 50,000 gets us to the center point. Hence, the Quran says the angels in the spirit will ascend to him during the day, the extent which is 50,000 years. Ain't that something? Right? Now, I just got a quick question to pose, and then I want to turn the corner a little bit. Not only are we 50,000 light years in radius, what's the circumference? That's very interesting. That would mean our circumference is 314,159 light years. But ladies and gentlemen, what is the decimal of pi? Type it up. Open up another window and type in the decimal formula for pi. Is it not 3.14159? That's very, so our circumference in light years of the Milky Way galaxy is pi. Y'all better stop playing. Y'all better stop playing, man. Y'all stop playing. So I got a question, because when we're thinking about the circle, it took me back to this particular location known as Eagle Mound, also known as the Great Circle in Newark, Ohio. Its location is 40 degrees, 2 minutes, 27 seconds north of the equator. If you break out a calculator and do what I said, 40 times 2 times 27, you're going to get 2,160. And that's the precise age of a zodiac age, or precise number of a zodiac age. This place, when you go there, they tell you they was observing an 18.6 year cycle of the moon. But coincidentally, I don't have it on this slide, but you can fact check me. The moon has a diameter of 2,160 miles across. But my question, and I'll just pose as a question, why is 4K 2,160 pixels in height, same as 5K in height? Remember, we do 1080 is HD, but 4K is double that. 1080 and 1080 is, 2160. So my point is, when we dealing with technology and resolution, there's an ancient technology that was already used encoding the same numbers. Yes. Based off grid latitude. But like I said, the moon's diameter is that. And this should tell you something. You know what this should tell you? That you can go to any location and understand the numbers that's there. And then you can build. Now you becoming God. You can create. Yes. You can start to create what we call building the Temple of Solomon. Based off of God's math. When you understand creation. When we understand the basic measurements of certain things, we can then start to build the temple in a sense. And that's all that these ancients did. Now, my thing is this. Let me come off of this because I ain't really got nothing else to share. We can have a conversation. We got to be able to see the big picture. Like the big picture. Like that view I showed you, but not just like creation is like puzzle pieces. Right? I guess some people, who don't know me, I guess they come on, they come on the shorts that we putting out and then ask a question, or they may make a comment, man, you should, man, follow Jesus Christ, man. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, but I want to know in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 5:16, we no longer view Jesus from a human point of view. How do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile the Bushmen not ever in their life seeing the Bible and don't know nothing about Christianity? How do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile that a revelation called the Holy Quran came to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? And got actual facts. Now, where does that fit inside of your Christian story? As if the Christians didn't piggyback off of the Old Testament, and hence the Bible has the Judaic side of it first, and then it's a continuation. Like Islam became a continuation, right? So now where does all of this fit into the grand scheme of reality? And then we can go a little further into where is consciousness, and for lack of a better word, verses are in comparison to what we call a sky daddy, an entity, a being, God, in that form. That becomes very, very, very interesting, right? Very interesting. And so we got to be able to see again just the whole picture. You know what I'm saying? See, in one breath, and I'm just kind of going back on these comments somebody made about, somebody who said, listen, man, your information is dope. I love it. I'm curious to know if you believe in Jesus Christ because I want to share this with my friends. But the sharing was predicated upon me and Christ, right? Okay. Now here's a question. You have some Tibetan Buddhists who don't believe in Christ. They're not Christians. And what is called in the Bible the transfiguration of Christ, the Tibetan Buddhists actually do it. We call it a rainbow body. Their body literally transform into light. They die and their bodies shrink, in some cases disappear, only leaving hair and teeth. Sometimes all of the bones are gone, totally disintegrated, gone, disappeared, and then a freaking rainbow of light appears. This is a known concept, right? So wouldn't it just be common sense that one, God is the author and creator of all things? I think that's what all religion says, right? Okay, if we can agree to that, then that must mean that God is also, to a degree, the father of all of humanity, regardless to your belief. Yes. So then I asked the question, okay, well, if these people never even been introduced to the concept of Christ or whatever the case may be, what happens to them? And it's like, well, there's a scripture that says they'll be judged by the law that's on their heart. Beautiful. Beautiful. Couldn't have said it more better. My point of what I'm getting at, y'all, is all of God's creation, all of it has to fit in the puzzle of creation, right? All of it makes the masterpiece. All of it. Even to the, rather from different ideologies, and again, even get into the aspect of I self law and master. That's an aspect of Islam that a group talk. I self law am master. The consciousness of God resides in me. Yes. Right? Yes. But then that will also mean that we're all fractals. Yes. Because I'm got my own unique expression. You got your own unique expression. And at best, it'll take all these billions of people to come together to say, oh, this is what God looks like in totality. But that's just on the human spectrum, right? So then we don't even really even see it, or him, or whatever we want to dub it, right? In its totality. But what is it? And I'm more amazed at, I'm not gonna lie about it, man. I'm listen, and listen. My man Jew would be like, the Bible was the greatest book ever written. I'm telling you. The Quran is extraterrestrial. I'm telling you. Listen, man. I can show you some stuff in there that'll blow your mind. And I give y'all a little homework assignment. Chapter 16 is called The Bee. In that chapter, it talks about the female bee with this brown healing substance in their bellies. It's not the male bee, because he don't do that. And there is what was called, if you understand how the Arabic works, it was called like feminine third party. I want to say possessive, like a possessive verb, or in a sense, right? But it was feminine third party, which means there's something that's looking at the thing and telling you about the thing, and the thing they're telling you about is feminine. And bellies, and it wasn't plural, it was singular, bellies, because which is plural, but bellies, the bee has two stomachs. And not only does the bee have two stomachs, the bee has 16 chromosomes, which is the number of the chapter 16 that is titled The Bee. So now, here's a question. If God is just invisible wave consciousness, not a being, the question now becomes, well, shit, how did a wave of information, or just consciousness, in a sense, construct the bee with 16 chromosomes, and then later put it in a book that precisely lines up with it to tell you that this is why we did it, right? If it's just a wave of energy in a sense and not necessarily a being. Because see, here's the thing that we're gonna have to consider too. This is what I'm saying. We got to look at the big picture. Science plays a role. Everything plays a role. Science plays a role. History plays a role. Historical facts play a role. What did the Dogon put on record? There's a group of beings called the Nomos that come from Sirius that really was like some of the first frontiers for the planet Earth in this system. It's something bigger than us. What did the Bible put on record? Hey, man, there's some giants in the land and they intermixing with the regular humans. This is on the record. Now you got to interject the Sumerian phase. Oh, okay. Yeah. Inky, Ilil, that's on the record in a sense, right? So all of the schools of thought before us points to the existence of a supreme deity being and supreme beings that are much more, for lack of a better word, much more mass than us. Although it is said that our consciousness and our beings is superior to the angels, but when I say their creation, they transcend the space-time medium. Yes, because usually they come from invisible to visible, so they transcend physicality. When I say in mass, there's beings that's greater than us in a sense, right? So now either we have to discard what all of the schools are pointing to and say it's all wrong. And listen, I'm in it to figure it out. So that's cool if we can come to that conclusion. But it's very ironic that they're all coming to the same conclusion. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, what are we to build off of becomes the key. What are we to build off of? What is it? Is it consciousness? Is it both? Because if it's just consciousness and we have morphed into a being somehow out of consciousness, whether we want to say it starts from the elemental level, invisible, then somehow it turns into mineral. Sometimes then it goes into plant, then it morphs into animal, then it comes to human. Okay. So what makes us think that it's not possible for it to morph into supreme deity? And now here's another question. There's another question too. Here's the one. Here's the one. Supreme being God, let's say literal, just like how Bible, Quran, and them say a supreme being God versus no God in just consciousness, in a sense. My awareness is it. That's it, right? And it's just everywhere. Everybody got it, and that's just it. But there's absolutely no supreme deity, right? Okay. Now, if we were just basically doing just basic gambling, right? A basic gamble. The only way that you can hedge the bet, hey, I got 100 on God is real as a being. But if I lose 100. So if I don't want to lose this 100, then I gotta bet somebody 100 that God ain't real, right? But either way it go, I'm just gonna be, if God ain't real as a being, and that's the verdict, then guess what? Then okay, yeah, I said he was real. I lose 100, and vice versa. So if you hedge the bet, you didn't go nowhere. You made no progress. You just canceled out. You just didn't have to come out your pocket because you made the opposite bet on the other side. There's no progress in that. And that's very interesting. That is very interesting because that state of consciousness is actually talked about in the Holy Quran. It's very interesting, right? So if supreme being don't exist, okay, what's the ramifications of not believing in that? Probably none, because supreme being don't exist. It's just consciousness. That's what it is. But if supreme being exists, and again, this is what I'm saying, y'all. This is philosophy tonight. We're thinking. That's it, right? If supreme being exists and you don't acknowledge supreme being, in fact, you go beyond not acknowledging, you like, yo, get out of here. It don't exist at all. You whack. That's right. Now what happens? If the rules of all the schools that come before us is like, yo, I got proof. This is what it is. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, the revelations that was revealed are true. So now what? Now you find yourself on the other side. So it's just a real interesting thing. I was having this conversation yesterday. Just a real interesting thing to understand what this is. And as we say, you can never, what do we really know as actual fact, in a sense, right? An actual fact, right? And there's ways you can access facts, and there's ways that you can verify things, and there's ways that you can intuitively do something. Do you know in science they never observe the atom and the electron? But yet they can tell you that if you mix this with this, you will get this combination will happen. But they've never even seen the electron, but would tell you that this has 6 electrons around this outer ring, but they never even seen it. In the higher branches of mathematics, they use what's called imaginary numbers. These cats ain't going to these planets and measuring the distance on some type of device as they travel there. They're bouncing waves and signals off of things, and they be able to calculate it from there, but they don't physically have to go to get the information to validate if it's a fact, right? So there's like a mystical way to obtain things, right? And then there's a scientific way to obtain things. And I think that we got to be lovers. If we true lovers of creation, whether it is you love God or you love consciousness, and that's how God operates, then you have to be a lover of, to me, honestly, science. You have to be. Because again, science allows us to perfectly explain the law of God. It's like the left brain, right brain, right? It's your right brain is said to be more artistic, more abstract. There go your mystical God side. Your left brain is said to be more analytical. There go your science side. And then there is this structure in your brain called the corpus callosum. It's the bridge between the two hemispheres. To me, that's where quantum physics and God emerges, where you don't get gun-ho on you so far to the left, you don't believe in divinity, but you so far on the right that you can't articulate science either. You come to this midpoint in the brain, the corpus callosum, the bridging point of the hemispheres, and then you understand totality. Me and TK, we was looking at the occipital lobe, right? And how we see, right? And the way that we see, that the nerves from the eyes, when they get to the back of the brain, they form an X, they crisscross. Yes, they crisscross, right? So what we see out of, I know it look to the right to y'all, but what we see out the left corner of our eye, right, is best observed from the right corner of your eye, right? And vice versa. When I look far to the right, the far left of my eye, left side, is what sees more to that. You see what I'm saying? And look it up. It literally crosses, right? And I said, man, that's a very, very interesting aspect of creation to have the intelligence to be able to do that, to allow you to be able to see the full view. So in other words, right, if we take, like, you take an object and put it in your hand and assume that this object has eyes, right? When I move this object, which is going to be to my right, when I move it to my right, which would look like to your left, right? When I move it this way, what just happened? The bottom just swung out to the left, but it gives me more view over here to the right. You see? So it's just not right sees right and left sees left. Our brains don't even work that way. Just this and this. You know what I'm saying? It's not that. As far as vision goes, vision says no, we cross so you would be able to see the full view. And so within the hemispheres of the brain, we got to come to a place of full integration where it's like, okay, Quran, you said that, wait a minute, the angel Gabriel ascends to you in 50 a day, which is 50,000 years. 50,000 years. Okay, what in creation is 50,000 years? Okay. Oh, let me go look at the diameter of the Milky Way galaxy, because I just was on this time anyway with God as radio in the Hebrew system. Now let's come in the Arabic system and cross-reference. Oh, snap. You mean to tell me the diameter is 100,000 light years, which makes the radius exactly 50,000 years? Check. The Quran has just validated the mystical code that was in the Old Testament. But the Quran keeps telling you that this is the ultimate truth and that it's a continuation of the previous book. Yes? So now we can put a check right there. You see what I'm saying? Again, like I spoke earlier, the B, 16 chromosomes, chapter 16 in the B. It's called the B in the Quran. Yes? You want another one? I asked a question. The question was, did Allah, because I was looking from the Quranic standpoint of view, did it have an understanding? Does this consciousness, if it's consciousness or Allah, the supreme being, do it have an understanding of 360 degrees? Yes? Now, let me share my screen with you so you can see how this works, because I know a little bit, some of us are just mathematically challenged a little bit, right? And we all are to a certain degree. We can all only go to a certain extent, right? So I said, do you have a knowledge of 360 degrees? 360 degrees making a circle, so let's make the circumference 360. When you make the circumference 360, what does that make the diameter? 114.5. 114.59. So we can roughly say 114.6 is the diameter. Yes? The diameter is what? The line that goes through the circle. Yes? Okay. So then if we go to, let's say, let me do it this way. What's my one? If we go to the Holy Quran real fast, I didn't want to do this one. Right? How many chapters are in the Holy Quran? 114. How many verses do it have? 6. Did I not just show you? Did I not just show you that when you take 360 as the circumference of the circle of your reality, remember, see, this is what I be saying, man, listen, don't y'all remember? I don't know if y'all remember, but in the Black Islamic school of thought, Nation of Islam, in the Moors, when they wear the fez, I think it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said that the fez symbolizes 360 degrees of wisdom. That's what he said. So we know a circle is 360. But if the circle is 360, then that's going to make the diameter 114. Now it was 114.59, so we can say 114.6 just to round it off smoothly. But then in the last chapter of the Quran is 114 with 6 verses. And I can do this. I'm telling you, I got so much math on this stuff that is scary. And what happens is it brings me to tears. Out of great tears. But you can only get to this revelation if you can't accept science as actual facts. And I have to everybody got a piece of the puzzle. You think God is going to condemn this person because they never even had a chance to be introduced to this thing? Like that's retarded. I just got to say it for what it is. It is. So when you can accept actual facts, and again, that's why I got to salute the Nation of Islam, because they came with a document. You got supreme wisdom lessons. Supreme wisdom lessons. Your wisdom is supposed to be supreme, right? But within those lessons, you have something called the actual facts, right? The earth, right, has a certain spin. The distance of the sun is approximately 93 million miles on average. Yes, the Atlantic Ocean is how many certain miles? The Pacific Ocean is, you get these actual facts. So, it's no different than understanding that plants, why they emit the color green? Why ain't plants blue and purple as plants, right? Like there's a reason, because now you start to deal with frequency of light, right? There's math and science. Life is math and science, man. So we gotta know that and love that. In the moment that we can marry that with scripture, man, we just, again, it's no longer a blind belief. It becomes a no, right? Now, I'll come off the gas with this. And it's this question, what I'm about to show you or share with you, and somebody can open up a window to fact check me and roll with me. This is not to step on anything. This is just about establishing the facts so we can come to a better understanding, right? They would tell you that the universe, the Big Bang, is roughly about 13.8 billion years old. Bump this. Let's do it together. Let's just go ahead and do it together. Don't do it together. See, I don't care about the popular consensus. We would and I don't care. Like, for those who want to learn some shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just gonna have to get in mode to learn, right? So let me see. How can I do this? I'm sharing my entire screen. I want to share a tab. So let me get rid of this Quran tab. Let me do it this way. And hopefully you'll be able to see my screen. All right. Let me share this Quran tab. There we go. Hopefully y'all can see that screen. How old is the Milky Way? Or how old is the Big Bang? Should be around 13.8. All right, I said that. 13.8 billion years. So this 13.8. Yes. Now let me pull up a calculator. I hope y'all can see my calculator, because I know I'm just sharing the tab, but 13.8. Okay. So now, before we do that, 13.8, before we do that, how old is the Earth? The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Yes? Okay. So then, if you take 13.8 divided by 4.5, that means that the Earth was created as a third part of this cycle. Okay. So in other words, right, they say that you got 6 days of creation, but the Quran just told you 50,000 years was a day in reference to a certain location. Now we about to get into the age of the universe. So come with me now. We're going to get into the age of the universe. This is what science is saying. So 13.8 in the calculator divided by 6 periods of creation, right? Divided by 6 periods of creation gives you what? 2.3 periods. Right? 2.3 years per period. Yes? If we go on by 6 periods. Yes? 6 periods. Okay? Now, some may argue, well, there's really 7, but he didn't create nothing on the 7th. Okay, well, we can possibly do that math as well. Okay. So 13.8 billion divided by 6. Okay. Divided by 6 periods gives us 2.3 per period. If the earth is created on what day is the earth created on? I want to say day 2, if I'm not mistaken. In the Bible. Let's see. Hold on. What day was the earth created on in the Bible? What day of creation was it? They say day 3, dry land and plants appeared. The sea and dry, that's day 3. So they say day 3 right there. If you can see that, they say day 3, right? Dry land and the earth is day 3. Now, what day was the earth created in? They created in the Quran. See if we get an answer. They just say 6 days. Here we go. The earth was what? Created in 2 days. It's a 2-day. They say it's a 2-day period, right? So hold on. Let me do this. Let me go to Chat GPT real fast. Give me a second. Let me open up good old Chat GPT. The earth was. Let me see. Hold on. Now, let me come back and share my screen so I can show you where we're going to pull it up. Chat GPT so we can get the verse. What it say? Verse 41. Chapter 41, verse 9, rather. What do it say? Say, do you indeed disbelieve in he who created the earth in what? 2 days, and attribute to him equals? That is the Lord of the worlds. So in the Quran says 2 days. The Bible says day 3. But you saw how 2 days, because remember, 13.8 divided by 6 gave us what? Want to pull out the math again? 2.3. Now, if we say 2.3 per period times 2, that's 4.6 billion. How old is the earth? We saw the earth to be 4.8. So now, I hope y'all following me on this. God damn, I hope y'all following me on this. I hope y'all following me on this. That means that you knew the Big Bang. But see, I've already covered this before. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. There is a verse in the Quran that says, and we exploded the universe, and certainly we are expanding it. And science just now comes in the early 1900s, like, oh, I think this thing started from a Big Bang and the universe is just constantly expanding. This is already written about, as scientific facts is already written about. This now being validated. And that verse, because I want to be clear about something too. Let me go back and show y'all what I shared with y'all today about that whole Gabriel in 50,000 years. Yes. I want y'all to see the name. Let me share my screen. I want y'all to see the name of this chapter. And then we can go to a quick Q&A if you want to. Where are we going here? That was chapter 70 that I quoted from. Yes. What's the name of chapter 70 right here? The ascending stairway. So when we go to the ascending stairway, this is where we started to see Gabriel ascending to him during the day, the extent which is 50,000 years. But this verse, this chapter in itself is called the ascending stairway. Remember the old show, Stairway to Heaven? So the ascending stairway, now you give us, once you gave us 50,000, it's a wrap. We should be able to figure out the other part, which we did. You see? So now it connects us right back to where I told you God is the radio source. That's where the strongest signal emits from. Now, I'm not going to do this for YouTube. You just got to be in the Patreon to know, and it's not no bait to get you in the Patreon. It's more or less if you want this type of time. Anyway, we participate in, when the moon is right there at the galactic center, then that's when we really come together as a collective and we do a collective prayer, collective activation, as I call it. And every single time we have done it, I used to do this years ago, I just fell back and started, doing real estate and stuff like that. But, I'm like, now, okay, everything's in position now. Now let's go ahead and get ready and show the glory of the Creator, show you how it really works, right? And so we'll do things. And the thing that we think about will absolutely come about as what appears to be a random external event. See, y'all all heard that the Native Americans can make it rain dance. There's a thing that you rain dance and you can bring rain, right? Well, the school of thought, one of my first schools of thought, and I'm glad it was, I'm glad for my order of things, how I got to things. One of my first schools of thought was the Nation of Islam. And in the Nation of Islam, you know what they thought? Rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes are created by the Son of Man, experimenting on high explosives. You telling me that my thoughts, humanity's thoughts, is somehow in direct correlation to weather patterns? You hold on. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. Our thoughts are connected to weather patterns. Shh. Man, listen. I gotta go smoke one. And I don't smoke, right? But I need to go smoke one right now. Hold on. Damn. That's one of those things where you don't even want to talk for the rest of the day. You're like, hold on, okay, how? You know what I'm saying? And then I would start to have questions like, Hurricane Katrina and things of that nature. And, then I would want to know what thoughts have finally condensed to create this particular pattern. What thoughts can we create purposely now, knowing this, to create phenomena? And that's what I'm in the business of. I call it the Kavod Elohim. We can show the glory of God through our collective thoughts. And every time we do it, and we only done about maybe 4 or 5 as we just got started back in this new cycle. The event happens within 24 to 48 hours. The last event happened 4 minutes later. We just did a practice, a week or two ago, and at 6:30 in the morning. It was a week ago, 6:30 in the morning. At 6:34 a.m., the news broke. And in the story, it literally mirrors exactly what we were visualizing. I can show you this. I have showed a piece of it before back on Brother Rich show when God is radio over there as well. You know what I'm saying? But again, I say all this to say that surely the power of the creator, an aspect of the creator, resides within us. And when we come together collectively, again, it's like a Voltron, the signal strengthens, right? And I am of the school of thought of as above, so below. So below, as above. As within, so without, and vice versa. So without, as within. That's the purpose of me and this 6-pointed star. I'm going to marry the heavens and the earth and show you. So ain't got nothing to do with you Jew, Muslim, it ain't got nothing to do with that. But if you know what that really is, then you know that that's what it is. You know what I mean? And it ain't no discrepancy in that. But this is why I be saying this, man. Like when you really study, you start to see the parallels. And once you see the parallels and still have common sense, you know what I'm saying? Then you see that it's all interconnected. And this is why I'm a big fan of the ancient Islamic Moorish timelines, their empires, where you had a golden age of Judaism. And I'm just dealing with the big three: Judaism, Islam. And although the Christians don't want to admit it simply because they wasn't in political control, but you had a very flourishing time in more Spain, known as Andalus or Andalusia. You know what I'm saying? Where you had what we have today, sewers, irrigation. You had that then. You know what I'm saying? Again, I said the first university ever is in Fez, Morocco. Ever, and still in operation to this day is in Fez, Morocco. You understand? So I'm the cat that's going to, listen, I walk in the masjid with a 6-pointed star, and I can tell something like, what the supposed to be looking like? Yeah, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? But then when I'm traveling, I got the rosary beads on the rear view, hanging from the rear view mirror, because I understand that a lot of malefic spirits scared of the crucifix to a degree, right? There's a certain aspect of that. See, at what point do we understand that? At what point do we say, "Oh, I'm a Muslim, and I believe in the jinn, bad jinn, but the Catholic Church don't have they don't have an aspect of truth when these cats got on the record exorcisms." Come on, man, they got exorcisms on the record. You can't invalidate that. How I'm gonna rob Padre Pio? This man helped this woman see, and this woman don't even have pupils in her eyeballs, and she's still alive to this day, and she can see because that man blessed her. You understand what I'm saying? How I'm gonna rob that man of that great work and say that you ain't got an aspect of truth? How am I gonna say the Quran doesn't have these scientific truths when I just showed you some of them? How I'm gonna say that? Just because I'm Buddhist? How I'm gonna say the Buddhists ain't got truth when these dudes, when they die, they body turn into light and they disappear? What are you talking about? How I'm gonna say that? You can't say that. You cannot be like, no, it's only this way, and that's it. It's not true. Your way is your way. You better find what makes you comfortable and do your thug thizzle. Do your thing. Do your thing. What is your way? That's the question. What's your way? You can't say the Tao is not true. when these dudes are doing great things and implementing medicine and in the body arts, the flow of energy? How are we gonna say the Tao is not true when I showed you on a YouTube short? If you go Google the story where science had just looked at a photon, which is a light particle, and when they looked at the entangled particle, type in entangled particle yin yang, and science is like, oh my god, we just looked at an entangled particle of light on the most tiniest microscopic level possible, and it looks like the yin yang symbol. But the Chinese been walking around here with the yin yang symbol way before Christianity, way before Islam. Islam is the Johnny come lately one, right? Way before Judaism, right? Like they got like the yin yang symbol was there in light. So you're gonna say that now what? You feel me? And this is why, man, this is why I like the folklore of, because it's not necessarily validated as a truth, but I like the legend of Jesus' missing years was spent in Egypt and India learning different arts. And I'm just here to give a little contribution as a spark of thought and proof that this all of this is one and is real. Two, to remove the little barriers that some of us have that is making us borderline subconscious atheists. And it's nothing wrong with being an atheist, but when I say it, I'm saying it in the term of no connecting. There's no conscious connecting to a source. Listen, you go to sleep or when you die, it is clear that something is animating the human being to make us what we call alive. That something has come because we're here, and that something will go. That's clear. In the body like this one will be no more. That's clear, right? Okay. So then the place to where you're going is possibly the place from whence you came. What is that? What is the rules over there? What is that? See, and when I say atheist, it's a disconnect from acknowledging that. And it's clear that you came and you're going. Okay. So if we can kind of clear that up, because my thing is, I love the school of thought that says you're projected light as an expression of God in consciousness, son of man, in a sense, right? I love that. So to be disconnected from that for whatever reason, but especially when it comes to just don't know how to catalog information, I got a soft spot in my heart for that, to try to help clear that up and put the pieces of the puzzle together so you can be connected to that source that your soul absolutely is going back to. I just got a soft spot for that, right? So if we can see everything in its totality, then we can be like, okay, that fits there, that's all good. Now, what's my system? What makes me complete? Because see, you're gonna notice something in Christianity, in none of the forms, not the Baptists, not the Methodists, not the Catholics, none of them are going to tell you about the science of sex and how orgasms and love is spiritual. They're not going to even tell us what they should be giving the blood types. I talked about this before. Incompatible blood types can produce a problem. If a woman gets pregnant and have a child in the womb that has a blood type that's incompatible with her, that can create issues. But we're not giving that through certain religions. So now what we do? We got to go to India. We got to go to Japan, who's big on blood types and compatibility, right? Then when we come to food, right? Okay, we got to go over to the Chinese because they understand it from an energetic standpoint, right? All foods either produce a level of hotness, body temperature increases, even if it's just a micro of a measurement, or it goes down. So that's hot, cold. And all foods either dry things out or add moisture. And so now we got like four rules of food: hot, dry, hot, wet, right? Cold, dry, cold, wet, right? So we got like these 4 faculties of food that we deal with, but you won't get that over here in this. You see what I'm saying? So now, what is the holistic approach to a degree? That's the thing, right? And that's why I do what I do, right? I'll be all right. I got that piece. I got that. Feel like for real, I've traveled for 12, especially the last 12 years, was just piecing it all together. Kriya yoga, Islam, Christianity is easy. That's the easiest one, just piecing it all together. And it's like, okay, this is what they're all saying. And this one has this one because it specializes in this. Okay. All right. Anyway. You know what I'm saying? I see Ali says salute. See, saw 216 everywhere for a week after that Black Magic show. Yeah, man. You should tap. You definitely should tap in. You see that? See, that's what I'm saying, right? These pyramid structures. I'm glad you said that. Like these pyramid structures, these mound structures are all over the planet, man. From Bonn, Germany. Look, you can fact check what I tell you. Bonn, Germany has something called the Golo Pyramid, and it's made in a circle. You got a circle pyramid in South America called Juliaco. Of course, you got the Great Circle in Stonehenge. Then you come over to Ohio. Newark, Ohio got the Great Circle, and the Great Octagon is in Newark. Then you got Serpent Mound in Southern Ohio. Then you got the Etowah Mounds down in Georgia. And then you got the Pinson Mound group over here in whatchamajigga, over in Tennessee, right? Then you got Moundville, Alabama has these mounds that sits on the Black Warrior River. Okay. So you got some there. Then you got the big mound, which I forget his name, but it's in Mexico, that sits directly, when I say directly under the pyramids in Alabama, or the mounds in Alabama. All right. So you got the Temple of the Magician. You got in South America, right? And then you got more than Mexico. Then you got Pyramid of the Sun, Pyramid of the Moon. You got Emerald Mound in Mississippi, Poverty Point in Louisiana, right? And then you can tie in certain mountain systems, such as Mount Shasta. So my point is, right? What if all of these things, and don't think for 1 second, I'm telling you, these were not Native Americans didn't build these things. Because how did the Native Americans walking around with a bow and arrow with a little flint stone arrow build a mound in Ohio at a location, which means you had to know north-south latitude, which means you knew that the equator was the equator that we use today. You knew the equator, and you knew that this place was 42 degrees north of the equator. But then when you times it, it puts you into a different location over here, way across the world. Literally. This one, the one in Newark Octagon, literally is grid latitude 216,000. But it's an octagon which got 8 openings to it. Break out your calculator and do 216,000 divided by 8. You're going to get 27,000. And when you go to Bonn, Germany, and look at the pyramid structure there, and you do its latitude is 27,000. So you think some Native Americans did that? Didn't no Native Americans do that. And the research actually points to the Cydonia complex in Mars too, on Mars rather. Okay, so now, honestly, be honest with you, this is something that's really way superior to the human race. Way superior to the human race that purposely put these things and make them point to one another for a purpose, for grand activation. These spots are I can't, man, they're phenomenal. I keep telling y'all, we went to one and we doing libations, and all of a sudden we hear this noise and we look, and there's these birds flying still in the air. They're not moving. They're just standing still, flapping their wings, and at the blink of an eye, they disappear like old girl do on He-Man, the sorceress. She comes through the portal and then she pops back through the portal. We've seen this with our own eyes, what we call magnetic anomalies, special vortexes. But you know who own it though? We know who get it? The metaphysics, the metaphysical white folks get it. While we sitting up here arguing about Christianity and Islam, they're at places called Sedona, Mount Shasta, Serpent Mound, Stonehenge. They're at the sites where it's obvious a higher advanced beings or civilizations absolutely encoded some things right there, for sure. Absolutely. And we playing around. That's why I've been moved, really, honestly. I think I'm gonna put something together this spring equinox. I think I stopped hosting trips in 2015. I was doing it 3 times a year. Started in 2011. Spring equinox, summer solstice, fall equinox, take the winter off. This spring, I think it's time to come out and show something. That's why I'm working the muscle now. Where we doing these exercises in the Patreon, and you see the event starting to happen. Okay, now what's gonna happen when we come together and we go focus on something? And we doing this remote. We ain't even did like we came together collectively to make the vortex of energy. Watch what happened. I already know what's gonna happen. Answers every time. Yeah. That's right. To Allah we come, from Allah we return, right? And I wish I really understood these frequencies, these sound frequencies of God. Your one God, your one God who choose to give game to Confucius, who choose to give game to the Taoists, who choose to come and enlighten the Buddhas, who choose to come in and give the Jews, who choose to come and give it to Christianity, who choose to come and give it to Muhammad. I wish we truly understood that one source, because the moment that we do that, it's game on. It's game on. And game over for what we call the Shaitanic force. Game over. But we're gonna show you. We're gonna show you when we get together. I'm gonna show you the glory. I'll show you the glory of the Most High when we do this work. All right. So anyway, I digress. I'll come off of it with that. Man, get at me. Hit us up in the Patreon. We about to do something on Tuesdays in the Patreon for the whole fall and winter. We doing some tea time where we gonna drink some tea. I'm pointing over there. I got some peppermint and lemongrass and some oolong tea over there. But we just gonna sip tea and have some great conversations. And I think I'm about to put something together on the golden heart, where we get into a certain rhythm and chant. I got something to show y'all, man. I got something to show y'all where it deals with the biology of the heart and the latest frequency. When I say latest, again, dealing with the 3 religions, so that's going to be Islam, Allah, and the heart. I'm going to show you something with the heart. You know what I mean? But listen, it only works if you believe. You got to believe. You got to believe. And to me, it's simple. Don't see science is fact, man. I ain't like, you know what I mean? I don't play with that. Like, a man is X chromosome, a woman is Y chromosome. What I supposed to be like? No, it ain't. No. I don't agree with. You can identify with what you want to identify with. What the facts of the record is one thing. Like, I don't care what you want to say. Like, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't play that. And so that's a mass distortion. And so when you understand law, you understand, like, okay, red vibrates at a certain nanometer. And then when it goes faster than that, it turns into orange. Any faster, it goes up the spectrum. These are laws like gravity. These are laws of the universe, man. They're set in stone. It ain't no, it don't exist. That's no bull crap. I can't grow stuff in the winter. It's not going to happen, right? There's laws to this place. And wait till my man Jew come on next week about these laws, but there's laws. So when we can validate the law, I'm good. I'm super good. It ain't no longer belief. They go scientific data. That's the science. Once the science confirm it, that's a ruling from the Supreme Court. It ain't no more arguing. Shut your dumb ass up. It's over. Once science confirms man and woman makes a baby, that is it. And how you gonna get here? Through sexual reproduction, because you can't do it by yourself, man. You can't do it by yourself, woman. Can you figure it out one day? Possibly. Anything's possible. I leave room for anything that's possible, but facts are facts. And so once science validates these truths, that's a ruling from the Supreme Court. That's the law. That's what it is. Period. Right? There's clearly 365 days around the sun. It has been marked. Now we can argue and say it's 365 days and 4 hours. And you say, well, no, technically it's 365 days, 3 hours and 58 minutes. You're going over by 2 minutes, bro. Okay. But do we agree at 365? Oh, for certainly we agree at 365. That's a fact. Nothing trumps the law. Nothing. That's why the Torah is called the law. But I showed you what Torah means. It means time. The Torah ain't got nothing to do with what we think it is. It's the law of time. Okay? Man, I hope y'all getting this. That's why I say in the Patreon, go in the collections tab and just take your time. Take your time. It's the law of time. All right. All right. I'm out, man. I'm out. Hope y'all enjoyed this quick little live. I appreciate y'all. Hit me up in the Patreon if you ain't in there. If not, we see you on the next one. It's all good. All right. All right. Peace out, y'all.